Well, I'm out in the Vale today on my checkpoint, and I'm riding with a new GPS, which I was going to tell you about. And because of that, this decided not to work. Like most things in the modern world, nothing actually works the way it should. Every product, cars, televisions, anything. And there'll be loads of forums of people discussing how the things they've got don't work. And have they got any advice to make it work. So the item in question is a Garmin Edge 1030 Plus. Did I need a new GPS? No, of course I didn't. But like so many things, want and need are miles apart. Of course, we always try and justify our purchases by saying that we needed it. I mean, my parents took us to school in a small family hatchback. And in fact, when I first started cycle racing, that was the vehicle that took me to the races, with the bike in the back. But now, you hear people say, oh, well, we had to have a 4x4. And you hear people say, yeah, but we had to have a people carrier because we've got children. There's no choice. Or people who live 500 yards down a gravel road saying, oh, well, we've got no choice, we had to have a 4x4. And it's all bollocks. So did I have to have a new GPS? Of course not. Just wanted one. And it started out because, well, as is so often the case, 4 weeks after I got my Edge Explore, Garmin brought out the Edge Explore 2. Damn. Should have waited for that. But I didn't know it was coming out. Bugger. Oh well. I've got what I've got. But that never lasts. My wife was doing some filing yesterday. So she was going through some receipts. And she was saying, have you got this anymore? No. Have you got that anymore? No. And she came across one for an Apple Watch. I said, oh, I still got that. She said, bloody hell, that's unusual for you. Always looking for the next new thing. Although I am a tight bastard, so I never get the actual new thing. I get the discounted model behind. Hence the 1030 Plus. Oh look, there's the sea. Marvellous. So after a year and a bit with my Edge Explore, started looking around. One of the features that I really wanted was Climb Pro. So I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, hoping to find a good deal on a second-hand unit. Because like I said, I'm a bit tight. And while I was doing that, I came across an advert for a Hammerhead Karoo 2. And it was marvellous. Really, streets ahead in terms of features, screen and everything else. So I spent ages reading reviews, watching YouTube videos, Because for me, the process of buying something, the reviews, the research, all of that sort of thing, that's just as much fun as buying the item itself. But the thing that attracted me to the Karoo 2 was the price, £171. And I thought, well, that's mad. You can't even buy a second-hand Garmin for that. But one of the concerns I had was that there's no sort of data management like there is with Garmin Connect. But I brushed that aside because, well, it just looked like such a nice unit. And I started looking at Strava. What do I actually use on Strava? I like to keep track of my heart rate, average speed. Strava can do all of them. And segments. I love segments. In fact, it's pretty much all I've been using Strava for is segments. And to show off to my friends that I've been out for a ride, obviously. And it goes without saying. So I've been doing the segments, and I come back and I look at my achievements, and then I don't pay for Strava, so I can't get all of the analysis, which in fairness is really only of any use to hardcore serious trainers, racers, triathletes, that sort of thing. And anyway, beginning of this year, Strava went a bit mad and whacked the price up. Like so many companies, they become successful and then they get consumed with greed, and they just want more and more and more, and eventually they'll price themselves out the market completely. We've seen it time and time again with various companies. So Strava put the price up to £8.99 a month. £8.99. That's a lot for somebody who rides 3 times a week and just wants to compare their segment times to the last 4 or 5 rides. But the free version will let me go back and look at the graph for about, I don't know, a dozen or so rides on that sector, and that was fine. But like so many companies, as I've said, enough is never enough for them. And once they'd whacked the price up, people started cancelling their subscriptions because they didn't see value in it. I also looked at the Wahoo. I like their interface, but the problem is it's not a touchscreen. And I thought about that. Does it matter that you use the touchscreen? But the thing, but what really put me off the Wahoo was the price. The Element Bolt, not too badly priced, but tiny little 2.2 inch screen. And the Roam version 2, well, that's 350 quid. So I went back to the Karoo 2. Anyway, decided to buy it. So I went to the website, selected it, put it in the basket, and then the basket wouldn't load. the website seemed to be a bit dodgy. And I thought, well, that's a bit of a red flag. So I told my wife she's better at these things than me. So she started doing some research. Turns out, although the price was quoted in pounds, it was a foreign website. And then the small print, it said you could be liable for import duty and one thing and another. And the delivery charge was unbelievable. So with the import duty and the charges for shipping and one thing and another, it worked out at about 235, which coincidentally is what the UK websites were selling it for. And that changed the game a bit for me, because it was a steal. At 171, didn't look such a bargain. At 235. Anyway, while I was thinking about it, I went out for a ride and I came back, and Strava has now removed the little segment graph for free users, because again, greed. People have cancelled their subscriptions because they've put the price through the roof, and now they think, oh yeah, remove a couple more features and they'll come flocking back. But they won't. All that happens is people start looking for alternative platforms. And you know this because when I typed into Google, you know, Google offers you suggestions, and I typed Strava, and its top suggestion was alternatives, which means it's been a very popular search. And Garmin Connect, I think, is better than Strava. It's just nobody uses it. Well, they do, but they send the data straight to Strava. Don't share it on Garmin Connect. And then, of course, the other thing Strava has removed is the live segments. And Garmin has segments. So, they're not as good as Strava. Obviously, nobody else can see them. But I'm only ever racing against myself, so I decided that didn't really matter. Oh well, kick back into life and everything's working. So there's the Climb Pro, feature that I most wanted. Rather embarrassingly, all the climbs that I struggle with, Garmin has determined them to be easy. So I didn't want to be beholden to Strava. And then I saw an advert of one of the big cycling retailers, Chain Reaction I think it was, maybe Wiggle. I think they're one in the same though. Morning. For an Edge 1030 Plus for $299. And the top end GPSs 1030, 1040, 1030 Plus have always been around the £500 to £600 mark. So suddenly, whilst I don't need all the features of the 1030, at half the price, it seemed worthwhile. The fact that it's just stopped my ride halfway through and asked me to save it is a bit worrying. So possibly I didn't make the right choice.